Before the separation, there is always a final access point, a last opportunity before the divine door closes forever. That moment is now. The final door is here, but not everyone sees it, and fewer will walk through it. When it closes, no force on earth or in heaven will open it again. This isn't about fear, it's about truth. Those who ignore the signs will discover too late that the clock was already ticking. This message isn't about predicting dates or decoding symbols. It's about realizing that you're already living inside the countdown. The most dangerous belief right now is thinking there's still time. Because the final door in the Rapture timeline doesn't close when the world ends. It closes when your heart stops responding. God has always followed a pattern throughout history. Before every judgment, He opens a door, a quiet, unassuming moment of mercy that few recognize until it's gone. In Noah's time, the ark stood open for days, not years, long enough for anyone to step in. But only a handful did. When the time came, the door wasn't closed by Noah. It was shut by God Himself, sealed with divine finality. During the Exodus, there was another door, not wooden, but marked with lamb's blood. Those who obeyed were passed over. Those who hesitated perished. It wasn't about religion. It was about obedience. Every divine door demands a response, not comfort. Revelation 3:8 says, "Behold, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it." That isn't poetic, it's prophetic. The open door today isn't physical, it's spiritual. It's that inner stirring, the tug in your heart that whispers, "Come closer while you still can." But distractions grow louder, comforts feel safer, and delay feels easier. Until it's too late. Every divine closing begins with a quiet open door that looks ordinary. A sermon that cuts deeper than usual. A strange unease while watching the world crumble. A random video that seems to speak directly to your soul. Maybe this one. Those aren't coincidences. They're calls, gentle warnings before the shift. Heaven doesn't slam doors. It narrows them until only the awake and willing can pass through. This final door isn't built of wood or steel. It's made of urgency, timing, and conviction. It represents the last space of grace before eternal separation. It's the final access point to spiritual readiness. The tragedy is that most people don't even realize they're standing before it. You don't walk through this door with your feet, but with your heart. It opens when your soul is tender enough to feel God's call, when conviction still burns and repentance still feels possible. But every moment of delay hardens the heart. The longer you wait, the quieter the knock becomes, until silence replaces it completely. Matthew 25:10 says, "And the door was shut." That moment is chilling because there was no warning, no explanation, just finality. In the parable of the 10 virgins, all were invited, all carried lamps, but only half were ready. The others assumed they had more time. That's the danger of spiritual delay. It doesn't feel dangerous until it's irreversible. The final door doesn't care how religious someone was, it only responds to readiness. It closes not when the world ends, but when your personal window of mercy ends. Sometimes that happens in a single unresponsive moment when the heart grows cold. Imagine a wide-open door beside a ticking clock. One shows opportunity, the other shows how much of it is left. Heaven's countdown isn't about world events, it's about hearts. While the world watches politics, wars, and disasters, heaven measures response by surrender, not seconds. Many believe the end will come with explosions and chaos, but biblically, the door closes when grace expires. Every ignored conviction, every delayed response, every whispered, "not now," is a second lost. When the last second strikes, the door shuts with divine precision. Think about 11:59, just before midnight. It looks like there's still time, but it's deceptive. Midnight isn't just a number change, it's a spiritual shift. It's when the oil runs out, when the rain begins, when the knock ceases. If you're waiting for a louder voice, this is it. God's clock doesn't use alarms. It uses whispers only the spiritually awake can hear. Revelation 10:6 declares, "There will be time no longer." That's not metaphor, it's warning. The window is still cracked open, but the ticking is fading. You can feel it in the air, a heaviness before a storm. Spiritual passion is fading, reverence is being replaced by entertainment, truth by convenience. People scroll past sermons, mock sacred things, and call compromise progress. But under that noise, something deeper is shifting. The hunger for truth is dying out, and when that happens, it's because the table of grace is being cleared. One of the most dangerous signs of all is spiritual numbness. Not rebellion, just indifference. People aren't stirred anymore. Conviction feels outdated. Messages that once led to repentance now seem too extreme. The Spirit still whispers, but few are listening. And when the heart no longer feels the call, it's not because God stopped speaking. It's because the ears have stopped hearing. Holiness is now called harsh, and what once made people tremble now makes them scroll away. Sin isn't hidden. It's celebrated. The world rebrands wickedness as authenticity, and even believers start to compromise. But the path through the final door is narrow. Only the pure in heart can fit through it. As purity fades, the door tightens, and right now it's tightening fast. Silence is the last sign before separation. In every age before judgment, God speaks, and then he stops. In Noah's day, the warning ceased, and the flood began. In Eli's day, the word of the Lord became rare, and destruction followed. When heaven stops pressing, when conviction stops cutting, it means the door is almost shut. But it doesn't slam. It closes slowly, quietly, and only the awake notice it. One of the enemy's most effective deceptions isn't loud rebellion, it's quiet delay. He doesn't have to make you deny God, he just has to make you wait. Wait for next week, next season, after you're done chasing dreams, after the kids grow. But delay is deadly. It lulls you to sleep while grace closes behind you. God doesn't close doors with a countdown. He does it with precision. In Noah's time, life seemed normal, eating, drinking, marrying, until the rain fell. In Sodom, the sun was still shining when fire descended. In Jesus' parable, the foolish virgins went out to buy oil, but by the time they returned, the door was closed. Mercy has an expiration, not because God is cruel, but because grace is a season. When it ends, judgment comes swiftly and silently. The greatest tragedy is realizing the door was open only after it's shut. The clock and the door work together. The clock doesn't just track time, it measures response. The door isn't stationary, it reacts to how we respond. When the final second strikes, it closes right on time, never early, never late. Romans 11:25 says the door shuts when the fullness of the Gentiles comes in. That's not about calendar years, it's about completion. When the last heart responds or rejects grace, the synchronization ends. People are waiting for world-shaking signs, but the countdown isn't external, it's internal. The door isn't closing in governments or economies, it's closing in hearts. The clock that's ticking isn't on a wall, it's in your chest. The moment you stop responding to God's pull, your time runs out. Right now, both the door and the clock are still moving, but they're converging quickly. Every heartbeat is 1 second closer to that divine meeting point where the door seals forever. The whispers of heaven are growing faint, but they're still there for those willing to listen. And if you feel that pull, if something inside of you is stirring, it means the door is still open, but for how much longer?